Same thing, and that's that we can speak about Josh. He had surgery this morning. It went very, very well, and he's on the road to recovery, which is a great thing. You know, for the past couple weeks, it's been a question, you know, what's going on with Josh, what's going on with Josh. There are certain things that we can and we cannot say. There's a federal law called HIPAA, and it forbids me or UCLA from making certain statements without the consent of the family. And so, not to be coy, not to avoid questions, but purely for the respect of HIPAA, and because my number one priority has always been and will always be the health and welfare of our players, sometimes we simply can't answer questions, and that's how that goes. I'm willing to take any hit to protect our players. You know, when you get into this business of coaching, you understand it's going to be a roller coaster. There's going to be ups and downs. There's going to be twists and turns. It's not always going to be fun. There's going to be some scary moments, some great moments, some challenging moments. None of us, not anyone that's ever coached, comes out of this business unscathed, and we understand that. But like I've said, for me personally, I'll take any hit that I have to take, any criticism I have to take, to protect the well-being of my players and my team. I'm incredibly proud of these guys, despite our record, which none of us are happy with. Every game we continue to fight and fight and fight. I think that shows the character of these young men. We're not perfect, we're far from it, we're very disappointed, but these guys never give up. The other night, was I a tad bit smug with Ben when he said, "How's Josh?" Yeah, but I had Josh Rebholz, Josh Ruprecht, Josh Brown, Josh Warabolko, all those guys in my mind. Did I know who you were probably talking about? Yes. I also turned and gave you information. So, you know, like I said, I'll take any hit, any criticism. I'm a big boy. I got into this with my eyes wide open. It's all I've ever done. It's all I've ever known for almost 55 years now. So, as long as it protects our players. So, happy for Josh, happy that this is now taken care of, happy that now I can talk about it, happy that he's on the road to recovery. I think he'll work incredibly hard to get back and have a great off season and preparation for 2017. Right now, our concern is preparing for Oregon State. You know, we're coming off of 4 straight losses, something we haven't experienced. It's not good, but once again, we started with the morning meetings this morning. Our team was engaged, they were enthusiastic, they were focused. I expect them to go out and have great practices like they have the last few weeks. As I've said many times, these young men are resilient. You know, they're able to get refocused, not let the past affect them and move on with the future. And so we're excited for a great game at 6 o'clock on Saturday night. We're going to wear our alternate uniforms this year, which are a salute to the military. I hope people like them. I'm sure there will be people that don't like them, but I think our players do, and hopefully our fans will as well, and they understand why we're wearing them. So it's going to be a great week. So.
Can you tell us a little bit more about the surgery and what the nature of it was?
I wish I could, but I'm not a doctor, and not to be smug, but I don't play one on TV either. You ever heard that joke?
Yes.
Okay, so I don't know the particulars. I don't know the particular procedure. I know that in talking to Josh's family, and Josh is a very, very well-known, Josh's dad is a very, very well-known and distinguished orthopedic surgeon. They are very pleased with the results. So to me, that's very encouraging. I plan on going by Josh's house tonight and seeing him and talking to him and his dad and his mom and just seeing where we are. But with regards to the exact procedure, I would be ignorant to talk on that.
About prognosis as far as like when he can throw again or when he can be back to full.
Well, those are questions that I have. You know, I always think it's dicey when you start talking about publicly when a guy can return. If they return faster, then people say, well, you know, why did you say it was going to be so long? If it takes him a little bit longer, everyone says, oh, he's behind schedule. I think what's important to say is that I know Josh, and I know our athletic training staff and our doctors. I know the people that Josh has worked with off campus with regards to his shoulder, and I know that everyone will do the best they can to get Josh back on schedule, throwing the football and participating in spring if possible. They'll do the best they can, and I think that's all we can ask. I know Josh will work incredibly hard. I know Ant will work incredibly hard So rather than putting a timeline on it, because I think that's unfair to Josh or our medical staff or the surgeons, it's just best to say that I know everyone's going to work in the right direction, in the positive direction to get him back.
How has he kind of taken this experience, and how has he kind of digested the news over the course of the last few weeks? I'm guessing it's going to just come overnight.
No, it's been a real process. You know, it hasn't been anything overnight. You know, the human body is a mystery at times, you know, and sometimes a diagnosis takes a lot longer than we would expect. You know, he had to undergo 2 MRIs actually to see what the problem is, and then when they go in, it might even be something different than the MRI shows. You know, that's just the way imaging works. It's disturbed Josh. You know, you saw that he was out there in his uniform and he was trying to play. You know, he was engaged in all of our meetings. He was engaged in practice. He would go out, I think, before he got hurt against Arizona State, and then who did we play after that?
Washington State.
Washington State. He went out and he tried to go, and then the next week we played Utah, and he tried to go again, but he just wasn't able to. And then, you know, they did the next MRI, and they found a little bit more, and then they went in today and they checked it out, and they took care of things. So it's been hard for him. You know, it's been hard for a guy that's as competitive as Josh is to sit on the sidelines and not be able to help his team win, especially when they need him the most, you know, in games like that. You know, that's just who he is. He's competitive. But I think that also he comes from a great family. He's a tremendous young man. I think he has a great attitude towards things, and I think he'll really attack his rehab.
Will he still be around for team meetings and stuff like that, or I guess what is his involvement with the team?
This week, the best thing is for him to rest and recuperate, start his treatment. He stayed at home last night. He'll stay at home tonight, maybe through the week. I think that's just to be determined. I spoke with him actually after the surgery this morning. I didn't expect to. I sent him a text to say, hey, I heard it went really well. You know, when you feel okay, give me a call. And about 2 seconds later, he called, and he sounded like he hadn't even been under, you know, and he was very encouraged. So, like I said, I'll go see him tonight, and we'll talk about some of those things. You know, one of the positives is Josh is a very good student. So if he does have to miss some class time this week, which he already has, he'll be able to catch up quickly. But at some point, sooner rather than later, I would anticipate he'll be back in the meetings, you know, working with Tui, working with Mike, trying to help wherever he can. I don't think you'll see him out on the field, you know. I don't think it would behoove him to be out there, but he will be very involved.
Is there a question of this could be career threatening?
No. No, absolutely not. And I know people are concerned about that. I think one of the problems was, you know, initially when I spoke without all the information, which I didn't have, and just mentioned the word nerve, people, you know, reacted to that. And like I said, I'm not a doctor, you know, and maybe, you know, it had been presented as maybe a nerve, but like I said, the human body is ever changing, and it's somewhat of a mystery. It is 100% was not a nerve issue. That has been confirmed. The procedure, I don't know. I don't know how they confirmed it. I don't know what they did in there, but I do know for a fact that there is absolutely no nerve damage at all. And what I've been told by his family this morning is that they are overjoyed with what they did find in there. But for me to speak to it would be, like I said, ignorant.
Other guys who are hurt, Quisenberry, are you expecting him to make a quick recovery from
Yeah,
this?
I am. You know, he didn't practice much last week, and it showed up on a lot of those snaps. He was really having trouble, but he went to treatment Friday, Saturday, Sunday. He was in there this morning. He's a lot better. So, you know, we'll have to watch him through the week. He should be able to play. Najee left the game with a little neck strain. He is on track to play. Andre James, he had an issue. You know, we're going to see where he is as we go through the week. Other than that, you know, besides Paco and Felton and Mora, and those guys were in pretty good shape.
What about Colton? Is he done for the year?
Not. Colton is he was non-weight bearing. Now he's able to do weight bearing things. So we're just going to have to see where he goes. It was not initially when he was diagnosed. It was not thought to be a season-ending thing. But once again, everybody heals a little bit differently. In the next couple of weeks, if he can get back and play, I know he'll get back and play. If he can't, then he won't. Hopefully, we can find some success here, get ourselves to a bowl, and he can find a way to play.
The last 3 games here, how would you kind of define success?
winning all three and getting in a bowl. You know, you can't win three unless you win one. So our focus has to, while that's the big picture, our focus has to be on preparing to play our best Saturday night and trying to get a win against Oregon State.
Now, you know, obviously in your time here, there has been this feeling that this is a program that's kind of building towards something, and obviously this year it's kind of felt like a step back.
Yeah.
What kind of gives you, I guess, the confidence that this is still moving in the right direction?
Well, I think that sometimes progress is disguised in failure. You know, sometimes we learn our greatest lessons about ourselves and each other in times of adversity, when things aren't going exactly like you want them to. If I saw a team that was imploding and falling apart, that wasn't coming to practice and working hard, didn't have the great attitude that they do, you know, guys that were missing meetings or bickering, then I would be concerned. But I don't see that. What I see is a team that's fully engaged. I see a team that goes into every meeting with the thought of how can I get better from a mental standpoint, that goes out to practice every day and says how can I get better from a physical standpoint. I see a staff that's, you know, committed to trying to find the right answers for the you know, the pieces of puzzle that we're trying to fit together to make this successful. You know, I think we've got a good football team that has had some tough breaks. We've been in every game, and we haven't been able to close them out or even, you know, get to that point where we had a chance to close it out on a few. So that's very discouraging. But the fight, the attitude, the work ethic, you know, like I said, this business is a roller coaster. And I've been in it for my whole life. You know, I haven't coached my whole life, but it's been my family's work for, I hate to say I'm almost 55, and I'm almost 55. So trust me, I've had 55 years of ups and downs. And so I guess experience would lead me to the answer that I'm encouraged by, you know, the direction we're headed.
Obviously, like, there's a pretty sizable part of this fan base, and I've heard from a lot of them that thinks, you know, sky's falling and everything. How much of that do you think has to do with maybe your public demeanor sometimes? And you kind of mentioned that you're a little flippant to Ben, who tells me that you're actually a really nice guy. Yet there's this party, right? I mean, I saw the video of that thing, and I'm like, wow, that guy doesn't seem very nice, right?
After the game?
After the game, yeah.
Well, I think, you know, after a game, it's a very emotional time.
Right.
Very, very emotional time. You've just come off of, you know, 3.5 hours just of an intense environment. And so I think if you judge people on those 12 to 14 minutes without getting the full picture of who they are, without seeing them every day and how they interact with others, and the way they present themselves to the media on a daily basis. If you ask these guys right here in front of you, you'd say that I'm always very polite to them and give them as much information as possible.
But, you know, fair or not, though, that is when a lot of people do actually see you, right?
Well, I
After
can't,
the game,
yeah, I just do my best every day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm committed to this, I do my best every day. I understand that when you're 3 and 6, there's gonna be criticism. Like I said, I've done this my whole life, I've been criticized before. We could go undefeated next year, and then the next year we could have a couple losses and I'd be criticized again. If you're going to let that affect you, then you need to move to another business.
Considering Scott's shoulder history, he missed all of last year with 2 shoulder
Scotty
surgeries.
Quiz, yeah.
How concerning is it kind of to pop up again?
Once again, I don't know the medical prognosis of it, but I believe that it's a little bit of a different issue. So, you know, the issues last year were 2 surgical issues, and it's not that at this point in time.
You mentioned roller coaster. I think the special teams qualifies as a roller coaster.
Yeah, it sure does.
Are you going to commit to the guys that we saw at the
No.
end of that game going forward, or are you still kind of looking to mix and match there, or what's kind
No, I'm 100% committed to Austin and JJ going forward. Austin's going to punt, and JJ's going to kick off and kick extra points and field goals. You know, those are the guys we brought in. It's not out of line to say that they hit a little bit of a wall as freshmen, you know, and had their struggles, but I think, you know, we know they're talented young men, and I think the best thing to do is just show them confidence and help them get through this, and I think that they'll be better for it. So we're going to commit to those 2. They've been told that, and the others have been told that as well.
You mentioned the bowl, you know, the possibility of a bowl game. So did you talk to the team about that specifically? Did you use that as I guess, a carrot to kind of play for?
A little bit. You know, I think you have to be careful when you look. I mean, obviously that's the end goal, but we can't get there without winning this Saturday. So yes, you put it out there, but you bring it right back to Saturday. You know, what do we do Saturday? How do we win Saturday? How do we prepare the best we can to go out and play our best game and try to get a win Saturday. If we can do that, then we can continue that conversation. So that's what we're trying to do.
The practice allotment that you'd be, given if you make a bowl game, how much is that, and would that be important to kind of
Oh, I
the
think-
progress of the program?
I think it's always important. I think you get a few extra practices. And how you choose to use them, depends probably on where you are health-wise and what bowl you're going to. We would use those practices to try to prepare to win the game, but in that preparation, there are guys that are getting extra repetitions. And anytime you can get competitive repetitions, it helps you. Anytime you can get in a game environment like a bowl where it's maybe a little bit heightened excitement, it can help you down the road. So, obviously that's something we're shooting for.
On the recruiting front, what kind of reaction have you been getting from recruits just given the season?
Fantastic. Yeah, fantastic. I mean, I saw, between Friday and Saturday, I saw a lot of players. And didn't talk to them because you can't, but you talk to their coaches. And, we text and we talk on the phone, and the reaction's been fantastic. I said last week, I don't think things like this affect most recruits. They're looking at a bigger picture. They know how successful we've become over the last 4 years. They know how the culture is here. They know the direction we're headed in, and they're excited about it. And they also see opportunities to come in and help. So I haven't seen any issues at all.
Was the helicopter a special thing, or have you done that before?
No, I haven't done it before. I was a little bit self-conscious about that. I just felt it was a little pretentious, getting in a helicopter and zipping around from game to game. But it was the most effective way to get out and see. I saw 4 games on Friday, so I was able to see a whole lot of players on Friday. I'm not going to lie, jumping in the helicopter, I was like, I can't believe I'm doing this. This just isn't me. But the players that you went and saw, they thought it was the coolest thing in the world, and so I'll go with that,
So you do that again?
If the opportunity presented and I could go see, the types of players that I was able to see Friday night and make that impression, then yeah, I'd do it again. I mean, I swallow hard when I do it, I don't like the high profile stuff, but if it helps our recruiting and it generates, an enthusiasm amongst the high school players, then yeah, I'll do it again. It was a nice helicopter. It was the old helicopter that Kobe used to fly up here in, and the pilots were great. It only took us like 12 minutes to get from downtown LA to Redlands. So yeah, and that we're flying over the freeway and you see all the traffic down there. This is a pretty good way to do it. So.
Did you fly over the games, the high school game?
We did. Yeah.
So you did flyovers.
So the first game we went to, I was texting in the helicopter with the young man that we were going to see. And I said, hey, do you want us to fly over? Because I also felt self-conscious about that, like, oh, here we come. But he's like, yeah, that'd be so cool. So I gave him one of those, hey, look up. They could hear us coming in, and we did a lap or 2 around, and he took video of it and posted it, and then you land, and everyone thinks it's a really neat deal. That you would go to that length to show how important they were to you, that you'd want to get to their games, and so you'd jump in a helicopter to do it. So it's pretty interesting.
Where would you land this? Like in the school parking?
No, the governor made it really easy. You're flying over the school, and I'm saying, hey, can we land it in right field? Can we land it on the tennis courts? Can we land it in that cornfield over there? But there's laws in place, so we would fly over and we'd find the closest airfield. Might be just a tiny little place, or we landed on top of parking structures. Anywhere we could get close to get to the game as quickly as we could.
Are you scared of heights at all?
No, thankfully I'm not. No, I thought it was kind of fun. So, besides the fact that it felt a little awkward.
We got time for 2 more guys.
Yeah, did you have to make special arrangements for this? Was it somebody's?
I didn't do it. Our staff did, but it's we're very fortunate to have an amazing support group here. Of alums and boosters and donors and people that contribute to this program, and they were helpful in doing that. So, okay,
Good.
all right.